What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Trent is very sick. I feel bad because I got a little bit sick. I thought he was in the clear. Now he's pretty sick.
And I kind of sound like an old woman, so just get used to that, because this whole video I'm gonna sound pretty bad.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
love old women.
Or an old man. Be an old man too.
So a lot of people ask us how we park and where we end up sleeping at night. So we thought we would maybe make a little video helping you visualize what it takes to park, to stealth camp.
So a little bit later in the video, we're gonna actually take you guys to a city location and to a suburban location and show you kind of what our van looks like from the outside, how we avoid being detected, what we look for when we're trying to park. We're gonna kind of go over some of those details now, but there'll be a live demonstration towards the end of the video.
It's definitely easier if we're in the backcountry, if we're camping like in a remote area, you just kind of pull over.
Yeah, anywhere where there's not gonna be cars around.
We're not gonna spend a lot of time talking about that. We're gonna talk a little bit more about urban environments where there's a lot of people, cars, houses around.
A lot of people really try to make their van as stealthy as possible. The fact of the matter is if you have solar panels and or a roof fan, those two things are like dead giveaways that somebody lives in that vehicle.
Yeah.
It's not that you really want to make sure your van looks as stealth as possible. You just want your van to look vacant. That's really the only difference. It can look like a motorhome. It can look like somebody might live in that van, but you want it to look like nobody's in that van right now.
There are a couple different options for places where you can park. Walmart is notorious for letting van lifers park there for free overnight. Campgrounds are another option. Normally you have to pay to stay at a campground. Other than that, we have found that stealth camping is the other option, the other main option.
Yeah.
So I think we would define stealth camping as when you pull up to a parking space where it's not necessarily expected that
or allowed
or necessarily allowed. Well,
sometimes in like a neighborhood you're not going to get in trouble for it, but if you're like downtown sleeping in your vehicle on the side of the road, there's a reason that the cops or somebody else will come knock on your door and tell you that you've got to move. It's because it's not allowed. Since
it's not necessarily allowed and some places have stricter rules than others, we try to be as respectful and as quiet and undetectable as possible to make sure we're not being discourteous to the area that we're staying in. So we definitely prefer to stay in quiet neighborhoods, but we definitely try to leave the lightest footprint possible and be as least intrusive as possible.
Yeah.
We pay attention to parking signs and street signs and also look for areas that are a little bit darker than other areas.
Really, noise is a huge factor as well. It's one of the reasons that I loathe camping in a Walmart parking lot. People are coming in and going out all night, waking you up, being noisy. A lot of Walmarts are like right by a highway, so there's usually highway noise. That's why we really prefer going into a quiet little neighborhood because it's gonna be quiet. Get a better night's rest.
We try to get in late at night and leave early in the morning. That's probably another major routine of ours. Slide into a spot late at night when we know we're about to just turn off all the lights or just hang out quietly, but then fall asleep. And then in the morning, we leave right away. We don't spend time with the door open, walking the dog, playing loud music, cooking. We don't have smells wafting out of the van. When we're stealth camping, we just try to be as respectful as possible to the area and just pull in right before we pass out.
We like to, like she said, let Frank out, let him go to the bathroom, bring him back in the van, make sure all the windows are blacked out, roll into our spot, shut the van off, get into the back. We can have the lights on. We could even listen to music as long as we're not too loud, or watch a movie or whatever. Make tea, I like to do that. But you really just want to make sure you're not drawing attention to yourselves, and if anybody walks by or looks at your van from the outside, nobody is like, oh, there's somebody in there.
And then in the mornings, we'll wake up and pretty much drive out of there. Normally we drive straight to a park, let the dog out, that's where we make coffee, that's where we feel a little bit more comfortable spending our morning, so that we're not intruding as much on a neighborhood or on another area.
The single most important thing that you need to have in your van in order to stealth camp is a drape or some type of
blackout curtain.
Yeah, some type of curtain or boundary in between the cab and the living space that light doesn't go through. Something that kind of goes in that same category as the drape is window coverings. You just want to block all of the windows out so that if the lights are on in your van and you get out, you can't tell somebody's inside. We're gonna show you later in the video when we park in the dark spaces, how you can't tell that there's anybody inside our van. We black out all the windows, but then once you go to bed and you turn off the lights, you can open up one of the windows or take one of the window covers off so that you can get some air circulation.
We are going to take you guys out on the road with us and kind of show you exactly what we're looking for when we're scoping out a parking spot. We're gonna give you an example of an urban and a more suburban area.
So let's head downtown and we're gonna find a dark, quiet spot to camp for the night.
Okay. All right, we're in the car, we're driving around downtown Washington, DC, and it's a little bit earlier than normal. It's not quite sunset yet, but we wanted to make sure you could see what was going on, so I think this will come out a little bit better on camera. So,
no standing or parking from 7 to 9:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. So that means if you wanted to try and park here where one of these two cars are, you're probably good throughout the night, but by 7 a.m. you've absolutely got to be out of there. That's not a good place to park. Also, this is a main road that's pretty busy, so it's going to be pretty noisy at night. We're gonna keep looking. Another thing you're gonna wanna keep your eye out for is how level a spot is. We sleep with our heads on the driver's side of the vehicle, so if we slant towards the gutter a little bit, it's not really a big issue. Our feet are lower than our heads. We can usually deal with it. But if you're on an uphill slant or if you're at too much of an angle, you're gonna have a terrible night's rest. So you wanna try and get a spot that's gonna accommodate how you sleep in your bed and make sure you're gonna be able to deal with it and get a good night's rest. So this here is a neighborhood that's gonna be a little quieter at night. There's still gonna be some traffic, and obviously you can see we're still downtown. That's why there's not really any gaps in between these cars. Standing or parking anytime, 2-hour parking limit in zone 3, 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. So after 8:30, you can be here, and you can be here for 2 hours after 7 a.m. So that means 9 a.m. Problem is, this street is sloped downhill at a pretty good degree. Since Allie sleeps against the back doors and I sleep in front of her, this orientation would have Allie rolling or sliding into me all night, and that is unacceptable. We're gonna keep looking. So this is a pretty prime location. As you can see, 2-hour parking, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., which means only on Monday through Friday can you not be here longer than 2 hours, obviously between 7 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. But after 6:30, we could park here. It's relatively flat. Also, if you look off to the side here, there's no houses, there's no businesses. It's an industrial complex's parking lot. This is prime. The last thing that we try to check for is if the street has street lights that are lit up at this point. We want to make sure the street light isn't close to or aiming directly at the window that's right above our head, because that can kind of like illuminate the van and make it bright outside, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. So we'll try to park usually under a tree or somewhere where the window can face away from the street light. That's optimal location for parking in the city.
All right, so we've driven a little bit.
Oh, look, some deer.
Oh, hey. We've driven a little bit further. It's a bit darker out now. We're in a more suburban residential neighborhood.
So what we're really looking for, like I've said before, is an area that's kind of flat. In neighborhoods, what's really, really good is houses that are on corners where the house faces one direction. Like, let's see right here. So this house on the corner up here on the right has this huge sweeping, basically the back and side of their house. So you might be in front of one of these people, but for all they know, you're visiting this house. So I usually try to get kind of in between two houses, turn off all the lights, kill the engine, jump into the back. As you can see, our van is parked on the side of the road, right next to this corner house. No lights, no signs of people, no light coming in that window. Ground to the front, still no lights over here. But then if you come inside,
hi.
Obviously everything's fine and normal in here. So if you're in the outside of our van, you probably have no idea that we're even in here, but we are. Stealth camping.
So hopefully this video is helpful for you if you are thinking about van life, or you're wondering about where we park or where you might park if you are traveling around in your car. Let us know if this was helpful, or if you have other tips that you would recommend that we maybe implement as we're trying to figure out parking spots for the night. Leave them in the comments.
Yeah, if there's something we missed, definitely let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
I apologize sincerely for my voice sounding so embarrassing. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it.
Subscribe to Trent and Allie if you're not already. We super appreciate that as well.
Or at least consider it.
Yeah.
Consider subscribing.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe we haven't earned your subscription yet, but just know that my voice...
Do it for the voice.
My voice would really appreciate it. and see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.